My name is Raisa Egroff, and today we are here with Representative Bill Post from the Capitol. So, Representative Bill Post, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do at the Capitol?
Well, I am the state representative for House District 25, which is Kaiser, St. Paul, and Newburgh, and some of the rural areas just slightly east and west of those three towns, a little bit of Jervis and French Prairie and some of that area. I've been the state representative since I was elected in 2014, so I started serving in 2015. So I'm running for my fourth term right now for 2020. And outside of that, I was a radio and television broadcaster for about 35, 40 years. And that's kind of pretty much my whole life summed up right there.
Oh, wow. Well, so you've been in the game for a little while. Let me ask you, how has Oregon changed today from 4 terms ago when you first ran?
Not much.
Really?
One of the things, so I was doing a conservative political talk show back in 2014, well, actually 2013, when I first was asked if I would be willing to run for the House. And of course, my first reaction was, are you crazy? I mean, I like making money and I like playing golf, and I don't really want to go down to the Capitol because that's a madhouse. But you know, the challenge was thrown down, and I took it. So I spent 10 years on the radio telling people about the mess that was the Capitol and the mess that is Oregon politics every day, 5 days a week, 3 hours a day. So I kind of knew what I was getting into. Has it changed? No, not much. In fact, it's gotten worse. When I first, let's see, in 2011, that was the year that the Oregon House was split 30-30, Democrat to Republican. And that was probably the best. The 11 and 12 sessions were probably the best sessions in Oregon's history for Oregon because of the balance. Since then, we're down to 38-22. And whether you're a Republican or Democrat, having that much imbalance is not good governance, and it's bad for the Republic.
Yeah, I've heard that from a couple of legislators where 2011, 2012, there was a lot more done for the betterment of the Oregonians then, when they were able to work on equal common grounds, whereas now it's more of a fight from both ends. So let me ask you this. So we are hearing a lot about the dangers of, or just how important this upcoming election is. It's because if we lose those 2 seats, that means that they're going to have their 2/3 majority, so they won't need the Republicans, and the Republicans won't have the power of the walkout. Can you explain that to me a little bit?
Yeah, so they have, let's just use the House, for instance, because that's where I am, and the Senate is 18-12. But in the House, it's 38-22. To pass any bill, just a normal policy bill, you just need simple majority. So 31 is all you need. But to pass a revenue creating bill, taxes, to pass taxes, you have to have at least 38. To have quorum, you have to have 40. So currently, if 2 Republicans show up, then there's quorum, and then you can do business in the House floor. If 2 Republicans don't show up, there's only 38, then they can't do anything. They can't move any bill, they can't do anything. They have to have quorum. So yeah, they would love to make it, as we call it, quorum proof and win 2 more seats. The other thing that's at factor here is we are at a crossroads in 2021, at every 10-year crossroads, and that is redistricting. So the lines that are drawn for each House, Senate, and congressional district are drawn by the legislature, according to our Oregon Constitution, every 10 years after the census. This election, everywhere I've gone in the last year, I've tried to tell people this is the Alamo. This is the last stand, November of 2020. We can't look to 2022, 24, 26, 28, because redistricting in 2021 could make all the difference in the world. Let's say the Republicans gain 2 seats next year, yet we're still in the minority. Redistricting, they could district out 8 of us, so that in 2022, we're down to 14 districts or 16 districts. Oh, wow. It's amazing how important redistricting is. And so not only do we need to win House and Senate seats for that reason, but we need Kim Thatcher to win Secretary of State so that if the legislature can't come to an agreement, it falls to the Secretary of State's office. And we want Kim Thatcher there. We do not want Shamia Fagan there.
Absolutely. Well, and thank you so much for explaining that. I've heard that from you. I've heard that from Jeff Hayen at the last Marion County Republicans meeting, and that's something I don't think a lot of people really understand, just how important this upcoming election is. And everybody's thinking that we're doomed and we're lost. What would you say to people who don't really feel like there's a reason to vote? Like what's the point?
I would use examples like I'll never forget now Representative Jack Zika. From over in Redmond. He had a primary back in 2018, so his first election. And another great Republican ran against him. I mean, I couldn't get in the middle of that race because they were both great people and I loved them both. And but Jack Zika won that primary by 2 votes. And it was recounted 3 times and it was 2 votes. And so whenever somebody says to me, my vote doesn't count, I say, really? 2 votes. 2 votes. And to give you an even better illustration, Governor Kate Brown, when she first ran for the House back in, I think it was 92, 94, somewhere in there, she won her race by 7 votes. So think about this. If then nobody ever heard of Kate Brown, who's running for the state house, had received 8 more votes against her, she wouldn't be governor today. We would never have heard of her. She'd just be some person who lived in Portland. So your vote counts. Your vote counts. Back to the governor race, just here's another number that people should be stunned at. No matter what party or non-party you're with. I'm going to talk to Republicans for just a moment. In 2018, when Kate Brown was running against Newt Buehler, there were 133, I'm rounding up slightly, it was 132,528, something like that. 133,000 Republicans that not were just eligible to vote, but had a ballot somewhere in their house and didn't turn that ballot in. And Kate Brown won by 119,000 votes.
Oh, goodness.
So the question is, did Kate Brown win or did Republicans blow it? Yeah. And whenever somebody says, oh, Portland runs everything, Eugene runs everything, I say, no. Those 133,000 Republicans were from all over the state.
Wow. So what do you say to people who they feel like mail-in voting has a lot of dangers to it? Like they're afraid that somebody's going to miscount their vote, or they're just going to, their vote's going to be thrown in the garbage anyway, so why even vote? Is it safe to vote through the mail?
I ask, show me the proof that there's something wrong with the system. I get a lot of emails and a lot of Facebook posts and a lot of social media saying they did this, they did that. And I say, send me the proof and I'll look into it. So far, nobody can send me proof. It's just talk. Do I wish that we could go back to the polling place? Sure. But that horse is out of the barn a long time ago. It's not coming back. Oregonians love mail-in voting. They love the fact, and here's an advantage to mail-in voting, actually. You have 3 weeks. So think about this before, you're too young. But remember, when you went into the polling booth, you either brought some notes with you or you went in there and you just punched them, okay, Bob, Sue, Mary, Joe, and that's who you voted for. Now you have 3 weeks to look at your ballot. You have computers now and phones, and you can study. So I think it's actually an advantage, though I strongly recommend people do not wait till the last day.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Study it, fill it out, and drop it in the mail. Not the mail, but I don't believe in mailing. Don't mail it. Drop it in a drop box, a county drop box. But if you're going to use the mail early. But I'm not crazy about it. But like I said, there's some advantages to mail-in voting that I don't think existed before. And the other thing I would say is when we were punching the buttons on the ballot back in the 80s, how do we know that my ballot wasn't getting thrown away then? I mean, it was just some ladies that volunteered down at Kaiser Elementary that I would go down to the school and vote, and they took my ballot and put it in a box. How do I know they weren't destroying those? So, I mean, come on, show me the proof. And I miss those days. Trust me. Like I said, I grew up right around here and just over there on Kaiser Elementary, the grade school. That's where we used to go, and they would check you in. They'd look at your ID. You signed a booklet, and then they handed you your ballot. You did your punching of the buttons, pulling the curtain. Afterwards, they slapped an I voted sticker on your chest, and you walked out and said, I've done my civic duty. And that
Yeah.
was really cool. And I really miss that. It's not coming back.
Yeah, if only the ballots came with those "I voted" stickers, that'd be nice.
Well, don't give any legislator an idea that costs taxpayers more money. They'll do it.
Oh, no kidding, no kidding. I've got a saying with that. I was like, you know what? Show me your budget. Like, tell us where the money's going. Then maybe we'll give you guys more money.
I'm kidding.
Um, so, so right now, especially in the past couple of years, we're seeing an influx of people who are noticing what's going on at the Capitol in Salem, Oregon, and they don't like it, and they want to change. They see where there's a lot of insufficiencies, and they want to do their part as citizens. Where do you think that these people can start? What do you recommend?
I think what you have done and many others, getting involved in the county party is a great start because, as you probably know, the legislative session is for 6 months in the odd numbered years and 35 days in the even numbered years. Well, that's a lot. So I say it this way, there's 17 months out of 24 that there's no legislature. So nothing's going on. So what do you do during those 17 months? That's the important part, is those 17 months is preparing for those 7 months and so going to county party meetings, getting involved in the county party. I think that's really important. But then when the legislature is in session, look, the Democrats have incredible resiliency and incredible volunteerism of groups. I've been there when there were 400 people, 1,000 people chanting $15 now, or free rent now, or whatever the left-wing cause might be. And I always say, where are people? Where are our people? And the thing that I generally people answer back is, well, we work for a living. And okay, well, you know what? They work too. They're more dedicated. They really are. I will never forget during 2016 short session, we were debating the $15 an hour minimum wage. And hundreds of protesters were in the House, just outside the House chambers. They took their shoes off and were banging on the walls. Now, I don't encourage us to do that.
Yeah.
But that's how rabidly dedicated they are. What you guys did, the freedom believers and medical freedom and all that for House Bill 3063, that was kind of like that, but without the radical stupidity. It was really good lobbying. And that's what people need to do, is they need to take a half a day off and get down to the Capitol and lobby.
So do you think that was the best way for us to go about it, where we showed up with gifts and we worked with the legislators instead of kind of seeing you guys as the enemy?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the gifts are necessarily necessary. I think just showing up.
Well, and I will say, I know the laws, they were like a $5 like box of chocolates or something. They weren't,
Yeah.
I will say that for the record.
No, I enjoyed them. But no, just being there, showing up, like I say, we're overwhelmed with, you saw when you were there in the hallways, there's always a group of people wearing matching blue shirts or matching red shirts or matching pink shirts or whatever it is. They're there all day, every day. And yet our side doesn't do that. And we need to do that more. And I give a great example besides your example is my chamber here, Kaiser Chamber, back again in that minimum wage battle. They were the only chamber that showed up. About 25 or 30 of them came in matching shirts saying, no 15 now or something like that. I don't remember what it was. But I was so impressed and so happy with them because they roamed the hallways as a group. And no other chamber in Oregon had done something like that. So that's amazing. Let's talk about Anna for just a moment, because that's a fascinating subject to me. And there are several candidates running for House seats that I had some sort of a hand in trying to get them to run. And Anna was one. And I'm a huge supporter of Anna's. The realism of the district is the Republican to Democrat registration edge. The Democrats have nearly a 20-point edge. If you were to do polling right now, which has been done, you would show that Anna is probably down by about 18 to 20 points. So sounds insurmountable. How could she possibly win? And it's fascinating doing a study of that district, House District 22, which is mainly Woodburn and then Northeast Salem, Jervis, that sort of area. It didn't matter what Republican ran. They got about 7,700 votes, and the Democrat would get about 9,400 votes, give or take, every 2 years. Same thing, didn't matter who it was. So if you just run R to D, you're going to lose. Anna would lose. The difference is freedom believers, Russian, whether they're Russian old believers or Russian, if they show up out of nowhere, this group that is what we call a 0 of 4, meaning they've not voted in any of the last 4 elections. If they show up, she wins that seat. And nobody sees it coming because the polling won't show, because no pollster in Oregon or anywhere in America polls 0 of 4s. They just don't do that. Why would you poll somebody that's not voted?
Yeah.
So it's going to show. So again, right now she's down by about 18 to 20 points. And I don't say that to discourage. I say, see, this is going to be a sneaker. And that's why everyone in that district, we have got to convince people to register if they haven't registered. If they have registered, they don't even have to be Republican. We don't care at this point because everybody gets the same ballot in the general. Vote for Anna Kasachev in that House District 22.
Yeah, we definitely got to get her in there. And we're so excited to do you have any other tips on how we can break that? Because in that district, we see a very, very distinct racial divide. What do you recommend we do to kind of bridge that gap?
It's just going to be hard to do. The activists that are on the Latin side, and I'm sorry that there's even a side, to me it's horrible to say that, but they are very, very, very far left progressive activists. PAC, which is the Farm Workers Union, LUSE, which is the Students United, Latino Students United. They're very radical. And I don't think you're ever going to get them to change their minds.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the current state representative, her campaign office is inside of PAC's office in Woodburn. So,
oh, wow.
You know, I don't remember if you said it, somebody said it, maybe Anna said it in one of her speeches that I was at. She said something about when you showed up at the Capitol, you were told you people don't vote, so you don't matter. Mm-hmm. I may be somewhat guilty of saying that. I think I remember saying that to Anna and Dominica when they came into my office. I didn't say you don't matter, but I said, you know, look, I knocked on doors in House District 22 back in 14, 16, 18. And every time I went to one of your homes, you said you don't vote. So It wasn't that I didn't care what they had to say to me. It was that, why don't you vote? What is the problem here? And now you've woke up to why it's so important to vote and why, people say, I don't like politics. I'm not into politics. I say, that's okay, because politics is into you.
Yeah, yes. And I think it was, even if whoever said it, it was really important for us to hear, because it's true. Nobody really cared about the Russian old believer community, even though there were a lot of people who reached out. If we don't vote, who should care about us? Who is going to care about us? If we're not going to stand up and vote and stand up for our beliefs, why should you guys? Why should the legislators?
Well, I care. I mean, and I did want to hear what people had to say, so I would have never said that. But and to say something like that is pretty dang rude. It really is, because it doesn't matter whether people vote or not vote. They still live here, and I still represent them. Even if they disagree with me, I still represent them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you weren't willing to be involved in the process, it's hard to take you seriously.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the big wake-up call that we're having with our community right now, is they're coming to us and they're saying, oh, can you believe all this stuff that's happening? We're like, that's right, you should register to vote. And they're just, so that was our big wake-up call of us realizing, the first time we showed up to the Capitol was with 3063, and everybody was like, what are you doing here? Like, if you haven't, like, what? So this is definitely a wake-up call, and this is just one of the first steps moving forward. And we're still registering people. I have been working on getting people registered to vote for over a year now, and my sister just registered herself to vote last week, and she even screenshot it and showed it to me that she registered, because she knew just how passionate I was about it. So I was like, yes, if I'm able to do that, we can move forward. It's going to be awesome.
Well, I have to tell you, I mean, I go to Salem Evangelical Church, so evangelical Protestant church, and I have wonderful people, intelligent people, wonderful people who say to me, I don't get involved in politics. I just don't vote. I don't believe the Bible instructs us to. I'm like, hello, would you like me to get mine out and show you where it doesn't say vote, but it does say get politically involved? Absolutely. And the Apostle Paul was the perfect example of it in Acts chapter 29, I think it is, when he goes to Rome as a Roman citizen and a Jew. He goes to Rome and appeals to Caesar on his behalf. That's getting involved in politics. And so there is nothing in the Bible that says Christians are not to be involved in politics. That is baloney, and that's from the devil as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
So Christians of all people should be involved.
Well, and it's so good that you say that, because I think that's exactly what it is. There's kind of a connection between Christians, and they're thinking, I should vote, but I'm a pacifist because Jesus Christ was a pacifist. So I think they have that misconception with that as well.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother thing you could talk about. But no, to not vote because you think it's not a Christian thing to do, I don't know where that comes from, and I don't abide by that.
Yeah. Well, and speaking on the behalf of the Russian World Believer community, with us, it wasn't so much of I'm not quite sure what it was. It was a mistrust of the government almost, and this spans of our hundreds and hundreds of years of persecution in Russia, but we're not living in Russia anymore. And for those hundreds of years, we had this of, oh, well, if it just turns bad, we'll just run away like we did. We ran from Russia to Kazakhstan to China to South America to Turkey to everywhere. And I'm at the point, and Freedom Believers and the Freedom Political Action Committee, we're at the point where this is our home, and we're going to put our foot down, and we're going to fight for our rights and defend our home, because once we don't have this little piece of freedom left, there will be nothing left for us. There will be no safe place for us to run. So that's been our big motivation of getting involved, because we're recognizing that this is the Alamo for us. This is our last stand, and we're going to stand up. We're going to stand up for Oregon.
Absolutely. And your story, when I first became more aware of the story of the Old Believers and the Russian people that are here in Oregon, and Slavic and other groups, being a historian, I was so fascinated by that, and I loved that story. But people who have been here in Oregon for generations, who are saying, I'm done, I'm moving to Idaho, I'm moving to Montana, I'm moving to Texas, whatever. I'm sorry, use the Alamo again. Did they say, oh, we better get to Austin quick and get out of here? No, they fought to the end.
Absolutely. Well, this is, and that's exactly the mindset that we have. So I want you to know that this election, the next one, like, you guys are no longer going to be alone. We're going to be standing up there right beside you guys, and we're going to stand up for Oregon, and we're going to do this together.
Awesome. Great.
Again, thank you so much, Bill Post, Representative Bill Post. I'm so grateful that I had this opportunity. This is only going to be the first of many interviews, I'm sure, because my hope with this political action committee is to turn it into a bridge between the people and the legislators, and turn it into a bridge between the people and the Capitol. And I want this to be an open stream of communication between all of us, that we can educate and activate the people and just wake everybody up and realize there is something going on, but this situation isn't hopeless. We can do this together. We're not alone. So that, I want you to know that if you see the Freedom Political Action Committee doing anything, that's our goal with it.
Great. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, Representative Bill Post, you'll be seeing this recorded video. I'm going to be like editing it into short segments. You know, the question that I asked you and the answer, because you answered everything so beautifully. You'll be seeing it on YouTube, Facebook, all the social media sites. So I really do appreciate everything.
You bet. Send me a link or something if
I will.
You want to spread it around out there.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.